Hey y'all, let's sew a V-neck. The first step is going to be to cut a 3/4 inch wide small strip of interfacing, and you're going to add that on each side of your neckline a few inches, and you can cross it over in the center. Then we're going to measure a 1/2 inch from the edge of the neckline and mark it along each side, and we are going to stay stitch the neckline. So just with a narrow straight stitch, you are going to stitch about an inch on each side. When you get to the center, leave your needle down, pick up your foot, and then turn. This is so our neckline does not stretch out as we are sewing it. It also gives us a guide exactly where our seam allowance is going to be on the neckline. Once you have that stay stitch, you are going to clip into the center of the V-neck. You're going to clip to that seam, but not through it. So just right up to the seam so the V-neck can open and we can stitch on the neckband. Then you can set that aside, and you're going to take your V-neck band piece and we are going to stitch it together along the marking that you have on there. I like to start from the center point and then stitch to each edge using a longer triple stitch. You can also stitch from the edge to the center to the other edge. Just again, make sure to leave that needle down and lift your foot up when you get to the center. We're doing the same thing here. We're clipping to that seam but not through it. And then you're going to press the seam open and fold that neckband in half, wrong sides together. You can take this to your iron and give it a press. Once you have it folded together nicely, aligning those raw edges, then we are going to baste the neckband together along those raw edges, just a few inches on each side. You can go ahead and baste the entire neckband if you want, or if your fabric isn't holding a nice press. Again, I leave my needle down in the center, pick up my foot, and sew the other way. I went ahead and quartered my neckband, and I also quartered my neckline. You're going to take a marking tool and you are going to measure a 1/2 inch from the bottom of the neckband point, and you are going to create a mark right in the center. Just like this, you can use a fabric pen or chalk, whatever you have on hand. Then you're going to take your neckband and you are going to align it so it's right sides together in the neckline, and you are going to pin them together exactly at that 1/2 inch stay stitch in the center to the 1/2 inch marking that you marked on the neckband. And I do like to make sure I use a pin here so it stays nice and centered. Once you have the centers aligned, you are going to kind of open the neckline where we clipped it and align that left side to the left side of the neckband. And then you're going to do the same thing on the right side where you pull it away from the center, just like this, and you're going to pin it together. Next, you're going to want to baste this neckband just in the center. So we make sure that everything is aligned. Basting is going to be your best friend with a V-neck to make sure that everything is nice and aligned. So you're stitching directly on that 1/2 inch marking and stay stitch line again, because this is a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And you're just going a few inches on each side. So you will start stitching, and then once you get to the center, you want to make sure that you're catching the center neckline, and you are going to leave that needle down and then lift your foot up, realign everything, make sure nothing is getting bunched or gathered in any way, and then continue to baste along the other side. Once you have this basted, you're going to want to take a look and see if everything looks nice, if it's centered, that there's no bunching, and that there's no holes, that you caught the neckline. And if you're happy with that, what I like to do is go ahead and do a same line of stitching that I just did with the basting, but with a longer triple stitch just at the center. And then I go ahead and mark, or go ahead and match those quarter points of the neckband to the neckline. And your neckband should slightly stretch to fit the neckline. It's not going to be one to one, it is going to need to stretch here. And once I have it basted and then I sew it with my sewing machine just at that center, I go ahead and I take it to my serger and I start at the center V and stitch the entire neckline with that 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then go ahead and go off the center again. That way you can just thread the serger tail back through. Then you're going to want to give it a really nice press with your iron, and then if you want to, you can top stitch around the neckline. And that's it. That's how we sew a V-neck.